Hey, good people, welcome back to Money's Book List. So it is June 22nd, and I am filming my June wrap up. And I know you're like, whoa, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. This wrap up is kind of early, lady. You have like another week. I am giving myself a week off from reading. I am going to take another week off from reading. I think that I'm going to try to do this every month, try to finish all my books by the last week of June, and just take the last week off so that um, if I am, if I want to catch up on my favorite TV shows, I can. Um, Again, I don't watch a lot of TV shows. There are a few shows that I do like. I like Spectrum's new show called LA's Finest because it is a spinoff of Bad Boys. Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, I said all that to say, um, yes, that's why I'm filming my wrap up early. So let's get into this wrap up. The first one I want to talk about is called The Prize. And I don't have any of the authors' names off the top of my head. All the books that I am talking about will have a picture and you will see the author. This book takes place in England in year 1066. And this is when the Saxons and I don't know, what would you call them? They're not Nordics. It's not Norway. I don't know what they would be. The Saxons and I can't think right now. Anyway, this young lady by the name of Nicola, we're just gonna call her Nick. She is the proud owner of this area, and I'm pouring myself a nice adult beverage over here. She is the landowner of this area where the Normandy, where the Saxons want to take over. They have sent several men to try to capture this castle and her land. And she's just like, bitch, please. And she's been doing a very good job with her brother soldiers uh, maintaining this. Finally, they send this soldier and his team, and his name is Ross. And he comes and he's like, he's good. He's really good. So he with the quickness, he captures her. She does trick him in the beginning, though. I really like that. I liked her little trickery. Anyway, part of the thing that when she goes to meet the king, I think his name is William. Remember, his name is William. When she meets King William, she's initially supposed to be the prize of one of his soldiers, but something happens during that meeting, and then the king's wife is like, "This woman is incredible, and you shouldn't make her a prize. She should get to pick because she's a fierce warrior, and she's proven herself once again, here in amongst us. So she should get the pick of the prize, and she does. Now, her and Ross don't really like each other, or they start off not liking each other. But she picks him as her husband, and the book goes on from there. It's a very cute book. It is romance. Um, I did like it. I did like it better. I think this one was by Julie Garwin. I believe that. I liked it better than I liked her other book, which was called Saving Grace, I believe. I like this one way better than Saving Grace. The next book I finished was called The Governess Game, and I believe this one was by Tessa Dare. Now, this book should be a short film. It should be something. The comic relief in this book is amazing. Like, I was so surprised. I was laughing in this book, and it was just amazing. So you meet Chase. He is he becomes a duke or earl. I think he becomes an earl because of his cousin's death, and he feels some type of like remorse for that because he believes he's um, at fault for his brother's death. And while he is now the duke, he's also been placed as the ward of these two. Well, no, they would be his wards. He's now the guardian of these two girls, and they are just a handful for him. And so, in walks election, in walks Alexandria, and she's just here to set clocks. Like, she's just making sure your clock is set to Greenwich time, and that's all she wants to do, and that's all she's here to offer. And he winds up hiring her as his nanny, even though she's as a governess. Sorry, even though she's not a governess. Well, they go on a lovely chase about things, and this story is amazing. The two girls in the story are very cute, and you'll love it. Cute, cute, cute story. I would highly recommend it. Of course, there was 50 Shades of Grey I read. This was by E.L. James, I believe. I believe that's her name. You all know the premise of 50 Shades of Grey. There's Christian Grey, and then there's Anastasia. Anastasia is she wants to be an editor, and then there's Christian, who owns his own tech company and basically has more money than God. And we all know the story of 50 Shades. And if you don't, it is a smut book with some with some submissive stuff in it. I said this in another book, in another video. I think the people didn't like this book. Okay, let me just be upfront with you. Did I enjoy this book 100%? No. And I will tell you because I felt like the author wrote in some of their biases towards a lot of things. I just read them, and maybe I'm just keywords kind of like, and I hate to use the word trigger, but it does, start a stirring in me. So there was a lot of biases in this book that I found weird. But is this book as bad as everyone's saying it is, or everyone's like, oh my God, 50 Shades of Grey? I mean, even me, because I did try to read this book once before, and I got to chapter 10, I believe, and I was just like, bitch, please. But reading the whole book, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it, and I actually enjoyed the characters more than I thought I was going to. Okay. All right, next book is Something About Sweetie. It's a YA romance book. This book was amazing. I don't know what else. I wish I could tell you that it was whatever, but it wasn't whatever. It was a really good book. You have Sweetie, and Sweetie is a plus-size teenager, and you meet her love interest in this book. His name is Ashish Patel. Now, Ashish Patel's family, his older brother, the author who wrote this book, wrote 2 other books, and one of them is about his older brother. And so his parents, Ashish's parents, want him to start, consider let him fix him up on an arranged marriage, or at least arranged dating. And he's having none of it. He hasn't even dated an Indian girl. He likes Americans. That's what he's dating. So now Sweetie is Indian, and her real name is Sweetie. Her real name is Sweetie. And Sweetie is plus size, as I said. This book was amazing because it was the first book in a long time where the plus size character likes herself from the beginning of the story. It didn't take to the end of the story for her just to love herself because everyone else appreciated her. In the beginning, Sweetie appreciated herself. Of course, she had some doubts. Of course, she felt some, but she knew who she was as a person, and she felt strong and was okay with who she was. She just had to make sure that she was okay with the world not knowing that, or not seeing it as much as she was. And her biggest skeptic was her mother. And the only problem I have about this book, or I have in general about books that's written like this, is I hate where everybody is against the main female character. I hate it. I hate it. I don't know why. It's been bugging me lately that why does everyone have to be against a female first mate? That bugs me. It's a trope that I don't like. But this book was quite cute. There was some angst in it because it's YA, but I highly would suggest this book. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and it's cute because it is romance, but it is YA romance. So again, it's cute YA. I think you will enjoy it. Yeah, let's get to the next book. So the next book is called With the Fire on High. This book was caught me completely by surprise. You are following. I would say I don't know how it was marketed to people because I know people were kind of like, oh, it was boring. I was waiting for something to happen. Um, Yada 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 yada. I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video except to give a general because I want to do a full review on it. Um, no, I'll just go ahead and do it. So you're following a young lady by the name of Imani, and Imani is 17 and she is a single mother and she is in high school, and it follows her last year of high school and her getting into college and her like finding her life's, you know, purpose. And this book just was amazing. It made me cry because I know this girl, and when I say I know this girl, I mean I know someone like her. I know there's girls out there going through this right now, and you can tell right now I'm about to tear up. This book on so many levels were good, and I'm glad there's a book like this out there. This like, yeah, and I don't want to give any much of it away. I can say this, and if you consider this a spoiler alert, I'm going to say spoiler alert here. I like that it wasn't like a completely fairy tale ending for her. I like that it was just realistic, like, these are the hard decisions I have to make once I have a child. And having a child at 17 and having a child at 39, hard decisions still. I still make hard decisions, and this book was amazing. So I really highly recommend this book too. Next book I read was, or a graphic, the next thing I read was a graphic novel, The White Knight. This graphic novel was good. I didn't really have a bunch of duds in June, so you may be like, okay, everything can't be that damn good, girl. I didn't have a bunch of duds. I didn't have a bunch of duds in June. I really didn't. I had maybe one, and I think that was in the Smundathon, but like, but in this over here, I didn't really have any. So let me get to this because I'm talking too much about what I didn't have. So in the graphic novel, for those of us who like graphic novels, the Joker has convinced everyone that he is not a bad guy. And that it's really the person who's obsessive and being destructive is actually Batman. And you find yourself agreeing with him. Like halfway through the graphic novel, I was like, he's right. So yeah, he basically screws there. He doesn't, and here's the thing. He doesn't, because like the first time I described this book, I said he mind fucks everyone, or he plays with everyone's minds to convince them. He actually doesn't. He's actually being manipulated too. There's two Harley Quinns in this joint. Like what? Come on now. This graphic novel is great, and if you're not a Marvel or DC fan or graphic novels fan, and you know the base story of Batman and the Joker, you would enjoy this graphic novel. I think that if you want a digital copy of it right now on Amazon, I think it's like $7. Get yourself a copy. I promise you, you will not regret it. I promise you. The last book I read this month was a book called Hard Press. It was a romance. I'm reading this off the strength of Stephanie Reads or Talks Romance. This story is a romance novel, and it is about Jackson, and he moves to a small town to become a sheriff because he is from a major city. Well, he's not from a major city. He's from a bigger city than where he moves to. And he meets Annette. She's Italian. She's a bookstore owner, and she is the black sheep of her family because her parents are just, her family just sounded like an utter, like they just all seem like assholes. And I think this book and then the Sweetie book, and there's another couple books I read this month where like the gist of the trope of the book was like the main female character, everyone hates her and everyone has something wrong with her or have fault with her. When there's, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. Let me get back to the Hard Press. Hard Press is about Jackson and Annette. And Jackson really likes Annette, and Annette is like skittish because she had been looking or wanting to date some dude that she cannot date. And when I say she can't because he don't want her, and he don't want her because like, oh, he in love with somebody else. Well, he is in love with somebody else, but that someone else has a penis. So yeah, so she can't have him. She literally can't have him. Anyway, so she's feeling a little unsure of herself in any type, trying to make any type of relationship with anybody because she's like, I've been following that dude around for most of my adulthood, and I can't have him, So yeah, this book was cute. I think I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was good. I don't know. Like it was just okay. And I know you're like, those are only 9 books. I know you read more than 9 books in June. I did. I read a total of like 13 or 12. But I read a bunch of them for Smudathon, and I did a wrap up for that. So that is my wrap up, and I will probably be back with the same get up for my TBR for the month of July. Okay then. With that, I'm going to say goodbye.